Hello and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you're new, I'm Corie. Welcome to my channel, and if you are returning, thank you so much for being here as always. Super excited. Today is the minis challenge, so let's go ahead and get right on into the crafting. DIY number one. I have a Dollar Tree canvas and a little light set from the Dollar Tree as well. I am excited about this one, you guys. I started out with my Cricut. I went into the design space and I was just looking for merry and bright. I was looking for something that was already created for cutting specifically, so I filtered it there and I found a bunch of different designs of merry and bright. I selected a few, dropped them onto my little canvas, and then I decided which one I was going to use. So here you can see I'm just kind of spreading them out on the canvas, trying to just take a look at them all together here. And I finally settled on that top left one. So I'm just deleting off the others and I'm going to work with this one. The neat thing about this particular image is that it is grouped, and I discovered this by accident that I was going to be able to ungroup it, and that was going to allow me to manipulate it, not only move the words around a little bit, but I was able to delete out those other little pieces that I didn't need or want for this particular project. So once I had it all done the way I wanted, I went ahead and cut it out on my Cricut. You can see I am just using a scrap piece of vinyl. If you guys have followed me for a while and you've seen me working with vinyl, I tend to trim off all the extra parts of my vinyl and I put them away for another time. So here was an opportunity to use one of my little scraps. And I went ahead and weeded it all out. I'm leaving the words in this instance. And so then once I had it all weeded, I got it onto my transfer tape. This is a piece of transfer tape that has been used many a time. And I was actually worried that it wasn't going to adhere to the vinyl, but it did very nicely. So then I went ahead and I set it down on my canvas. Now, I always struggle a little bit with getting vinyl to stick to canvases, especially if I haven't painted them first. So I knew that it was probably going to be a little bit of work to get this off. Fortunately, because this transfer tape has been used so many times and it definitely has quite a bit of fuzz on it, I didn't have too hard a time. So I'm just working slowly, making sure that all of my little ends are staying down and working my way across the canvas, just making sure that everything is settled down. And this is sped up about 2.5 times just to give you an idea. So once I had worked my way down to the other side, I just want to make sure that everything is on there nice and solid. So I flipped it over because this gives me more pressure, right? With the canvas, there's a lot of give. So this is my moss chalk paint. You can use whatever color you want, whatever makes you happy, but I'm literally painting over the entire thing. And once it's dry, I'm going to be peeling up all of those letters and revealing the words. So they are now going to be kind of knocked out in white. Now, I did have a little bit of bleeding here. What I probably should have done is paint over it in white first and then paint over it in green, because that would have kind of sealed in my letters, and then any bleeding would have been in white and you wouldn't have been able to see it. Didn't occur to me at the time, even though I do that regularly, but at any rate, that's a good way to avoid the bleeding. So now you can see I've got my little light set that I've taken out from the Dollar Tree. I started unraveling that, but then the bleeding was bothering me a little bit, so I did decide to go in and touch it up here and there. I didn't go crazy with touching it up. I decided that from a little bit of a distance you couldn't see it anyway, so I left well enough alone. And now I am coming in with my weeding tool. You just need some sort of a sharp object, just something that will pierce the canvas. And I am putting 10 strategic holes in here. I'm placing the holes where I want my lights to poke through, because we're going to be using our lights coming through the back side of this. And now I'm just using a mechanical pencil to widen those holes a little bit more so that I'll be able to fit my little lights through without any trouble from the back. So now I'm going to grab my lights. I'm going to poke them through each of those little holes that I've created. And once I have those all set, I am going to come in with some hot glue. In just a second, you'll see. So I finally stopped flipping it back and forth because my little lights kept falling out on me. So I've just got it upside down. I'm poking all my lights through. And then, as I mentioned, I'm going to come in with, see, I got to stop flipping it over. So I came in with my hot glue just to make sure everything was secure and it wasn't going to pull out on me. So you just want to be careful with that hot glue gun though. Don't get that metal part too close to the wires or you could potentially melt it. So I was just kind of drizzling the hot glue down on that. And now this is a piece of canvas that I had removed from a frame on a completely different video, completely different project. And I had it just sitting in my stash waiting to be used for another project. So here we are. And I am just going to fold over the edges to create clean edges. And we're going to use this to seal up the back of our project here. But now I'm only going to be putting the hot glue across the top piece of this, because these lights are battery operated and I want to be able to replace the batteries as needed. So this is Velcro. This is from the Dollar Tree. They're little Velcro dots. So I'm going to pull some of these out of here. And I suppose I could have done Velcro on the entire thing. I don't know why I decided to hot glue the top. So you could do it however you would like. But I, for whatever reason, I think originally I was thinking about hot gluing maybe half of it. And then ultimately I decided no, that I really wanted to be able to get in there a little bit more. So I wanted flexibility, let's say. So I ended up Velcroing 3 sides. You totally could Velcro all 4, whatever is going to make things easiest for you. So once I had those all set, I knew I was going to be good to go. I'm seeing if I can get it to stand up here. It didn't want to cooperate. So I'm going to use a tongue depressor stick on the back side of it. I just used some hot glue along the edge of the tongue depressor stick and I lined it up with the bottom edge of the frame. And this will just give it a little bit more of a platform, so to speak, to stand upright. So now I have my little screwdriver set from the Dollar Tree and my batteries that I'm going to put in here. These little light packs, they have a teeny tiny little screw. So this little screwdriver set that I got from the Dollar Tree has been awesome for this because they're just tiny little screws. And so anytime you have, or screwdrivers, so whenever you have tiny little screws, this little kit comes in handy. And so I'm able to tuck my little battery pack in there, seal it up with my Velcro, and this is done. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the minis challenge. I am super excited to see all of the inspiration. There's a complete playlist. You'll find that in my description box. Please go and check out the other videos and give everyone some love for me. DIY number 2. All right, this is a little house thing that I had found at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna peel that up off the back. Then I also have one of my chalk couture transfers I'm gonna be working with for this. I just received it the other day. I was really excited because I thought it was really cute, but I'm just gonna peel up this sticker off the back. I'll sand it down a little bit, just make sure everything is good. And then I'm going to make this double-sided. I am not going to do anything to this front side of it, but take my little silver paint Sharpie and I'm going to write the number 25 on here. Now the 2 I was real pleased with, and then I wrote this 5 and I was like, well, that doesn't look quite as nice. So I decided to make these thicker, kind of like a faux calligraphy thing going on here, just so that it would give me the opportunity to fix my 5, because that 5 has, you know, it's got issues. So I'm fixing my 5, getting that base part of my 5 rounded out a little bit, and you know, just trying to get my paint going there So yeah, so 25 for my little Christmas holiday. That's my thought here. And then on the other side, I'm going to be flipping it over in just a moment. And I'm going to be painting this with my Adirondack white chalk paint. I gave it 2 good coats of paint, and once that was dry, I was going to be ready to decorate it. I did decide, rather than doing just my transfer, I was going to use some of the scrapbook paper. So I traced out the shape of my little house here. So I suppose I didn't ultimately have to paint the whole thing white, but I did anyway, right? So cutting out the shape of my house, and now I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this with the through the years we all will be together. So I ended up marking where I wanted to cut out of the paper to kind of create a frame for my little saying here. And then I used my X-Acto knife and my ruler, and I wasn't paying attention, and I went right away from my ruler there and did a really crazy cut. Fortunately, it was salvageable. I just moved my cut line down a little bit further on the house, and it actually ended up working out better than it would have been if I had stayed with the original cut line. So, you know, everything happens for a reason, and we always have a plan B in crafting, right? So I went ahead and cut out that little frame, popped that little piece out, and now I'm going to use my Mod Podge to glue this down. I was just checking to make sure that it was going to line up properly with my house, and it fit perfectly. Mod Podging it. It doesn't matter which kind of Mod Podge you use. You could use craft glue, whatever works for you here. Got that sealed down. And then I went ahead and laid down my little transfer. Now, I can't talk. If I had to do this again, I would have put some parchment paper under the sides of my transfer, because you can kind of see where I'm holding it there. I wasn't thinking about it, and I'm holding it up against the craft paper. Now this transfer is sticky. So can you imagine what happened? So I'm using my spruce sparkle Couture paste. At first I thought I was going to do 2 different colors. I ended up just using the one color. Now everything started coming off fine, except it was leaving a little bit of a residue. I didn't show it on camera, but I did try to, goodness, I'm forgetting what the word is for it. I tried to fuzz it. I fuzzed it a little bit, but not enough. And so it ended up leaving a residue, and I pulled up a little bit of that craft paper there. So now I'm disguising the craft paper with that little tree, which actually I think happened for a reason, right? It needed something more, and I was forced to put something there. And then I added a second tree to balance it out. Now I have my jute cord that I am just going to wrap around 3 times, and it's just going to be super cute for both sides of this house, whichever one I opt to have show. But you know, in reality, when we have a tier tray, I mean, depending on where your tier tray is located, you might be able to see both sides of this, right? So it's not necessarily a bad thing to have a double-sided piece. So it gives you options. Tying a cute little bow. I'm going to trim off the end there once I have it the way I want it. And this one is now done. Let me know what you think. And now it's time for a shout out timeout. Adorable Sharon, I am a sucker for snowmen. I think this one is so cute. And beautiful Darlene, how pretty. And super Rose, again, more snowmen and some wonderful signs. And wow, Amanda, I love all these colors and the little flowers. Oh, I would love to give you a shout out as well. If you have interest, send me an email at craftedbycorie@gmail.com. DIY number 3. All right, these are from the Dollar Tree, Crafter's Square, little, I think these are 4x4 wood. I'm not going to call them planks. They're little pieces of wood that you can use for mini signs. And it came 6 to a pack, so I thought it was a great deal. I am just going to use my antique wax on this, and I'm going to coat both sides and also making sure that I get all of the edges. Then I'm going back to my Cricut. I'm going back to my design space, but this time I decided I was going to do my own words. So I'm just kind of typing it in there. Once I have all of my words written, I will go in and identify a font that I want. And I'm just typing Jingle, a Jangle, y'all is what it's going to be. I don't know if I've seen that somewhere. In my head, I kind of made it up. But it's quite possible that I saw it somewhere and it isn't uniquely mine. So anyway, I just woke up one morning. I was like, Jingle, Jangle, y'all. That sounds cute. So yeah, anyway, once I had it all set in the way that I wanted it, I got it all lined up there, and then I went ahead and cut it out on my Cricut. Once that was produced, I was able to go ahead here. You can see this is another little scrap piece of vinyl that I had. So going to weed this out, and this time I am weeding out the letters and leaving the background because I'm going to use it as a stencil. So I guess the last time you could consider it a reverse stencil, but this time I'm going to use it as an actual stencil. So I'm going to lay that down on my piece, get it all lined up, make sure it's on there well. And I'm going to be using for this stencil, I'm actually using my chalk paste again. I believe that was called a plum sparkle pomegranate, and I think this is copper sparkle if I'm not mistaken. I'm using my little makeup sponges that I cut up to do this. And I'm just double checking all of my colors and trying to show you, though I don't think you can read that on here. So once I had this all done, I went ahead and peeled it away. I was worried that the copper was going to blend too much with the wood. And as you can see here, it really does. It kind of disappears there. So I was thinking about what to do with it. So the first thought was, let me grab this silver marker that I had picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I was going to just kind of give it a bit of an outline on the left side of all of the letters. I thought maybe that would just kind of give it some dimension and help all of the words pop a little bit. And it did to some extent, but I just didn't feel like it was enough with the copper to help it be visible enough. So I was still thinking about what I wanted to do, but in the meantime, I'm going to embellish this a little bit more. I've got my little wooden stickers from the Dollar Tree. I'm just adding in some little fun, I've got a stocking, I've got my little candy canes that I'm going to paint here with my Sharpie paint marker before I lay it down. And then I grabbed a little star as well. So just getting this all painted up, and then we'll place it down on the project. Trying to figure out where, but aren't those candy canes cute? I think those are adorable. All right, Corie, there we go. Okay, got it positioned now, dropped in my little star. I'm still thinking about that, y'all. So finally I grabbed my white chalk paint marker. Now I guess I'm going to give it a stand first, sorry. So similar to what I did before, I'm using a, it's not a popsicle stick, it's a tongue depressor stick, that size. And you can see I just ran a bead of hot glue right along the bottom edge. And I'm figuring that you probably won't see this on the tiered tray. I certainly could have used the antique wax on it too to help it blend. I didn't. I probably should have. So, but that ended up working really well. So here is my white chalk paint marker. Now the interesting thing about this, I was worried I was going to make a mess, but because I had that paste down, it was actually grabbing the marker and making it really easy for me to trace over the letters, and I had no problem staying in the lines, so to speak. But let me know what you think of this one. DIY number 4. So this is going to be a two-for-one kind of project here. So I've got these ornaments from the Dollar Tree. They came in a pack of, I think they were a pack of 4. I can't tell as I do this right now, but I think it's either 4 or 6. And then I've got my wood pieces again. I am whitewashing the first one and then using my antique wax on the second one. And with the whitewashing, that was just my Adirondack white chalk paint that I used with a baby wipe. So for the one that I stained, I went ahead and laid down one of my little doves, and now on the one that I whitewashed, I'm laying down one of my little red reindeer. I just think that these are super cute. Going to apply some hot glue to secure it to the backdrops, so to speak. And once those are secure, I knew that I wanted a little bit something more, but I like the simplicity of these, you guys. So I was thinking about what to do, and I grabbed my silver Sharpie marker for the dove because my dove is silver, so I wanted to stay in that kind of color scheme. And I'm just writing out the word peace up in that top left corner, and then I'll also put some little stars or snowflake type things in the top right corner. So I know it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing here, but essentially just hand lettering and getting that done. And then on the reindeer, I'm just going to write the word joy again with my Sharpie paint marker. But you can use any type of craft marker that you have. If you have a stencil and you prefer to use a stencil rather than hand lettering, that works too. If you have some sort of a transfer, like a rub-on transfer, whatever works. But let me know what you think of these. And here we are with the final reveal. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the projects. If you did, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought, and remember there's an entire playlist full of inspiration, so I hope you'll check that out next. Link is in my description box. Until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care. Bye.